Welcome to IMRAN STAR Video, or as we call it, ISVi, the collaborative lens on Vancouver, unfiltered, unscripted, and powered by community. We're not just a voice behind the mic, we're a collective of creators, thinkers, storytellers, and city lovers coming together to spotlight the people, places, and energy that make Vancouver what it is. From coast mountain skylines to neon-lit backstreets, we're covering everything from downtown buzz to the untold stories shaping our city. You'll find us exclusively on YouTube, no algorithms, no filters, just real talk. We're behind the scenes, updates, and chaotic brilliance in real time. Follow us on TikTok and Instagram. So hit subscribe, drop a comment, and help us grow from 100 to 10, 0, and beyond. Because this isn't just our platform, it's yours too. Turn it up, get into it. Let's talk Vancouver. This is ISV. Let's be honest, most of us are just out here trying to emotionally budget, dodge, rent hikes, and make it to payday without having a minor breakdown in a no-frills parking lot. Living in Vancouver in 2025 feels like trying to win a board game where the rules keep changing and avocado toast is considered a line item on your financial statement. But amid all the chaos, the costs, and the casual climate crises, there are still people out here doing the absolute most, and not for clout, but for change. These are the Vancouverites who are out here not just surviving, but straight up thriving, and doing it in a way that lifts the entire city with them. They're building community fridges, launching zero-waste pop-ups, organizing underground art shows in alleys, coding climate apps from co-working cafes, and starting mutual aid collectives between classes. They are the low-key legends and high-key disruptors who are choosing purpose over burnout. Though, let's be real, burnout is still very much in the group chat. While the rest of us are figuring out if we can afford to cry in therapy this week, or if we need to settle for screaming into our pillows while journaling with a scented candle, these folks are out here making actual impact. They're not just talking the talk, they're organizing the block, submitting the grant proposals, and still showing up with a reusable mug and a snack for you. Icons, really. In this section, we're spotlighting the people who are shaping Vancouver's future, not through abstract vibes, but through passion, hustle, and some seriously chaotic good energy. From social justice warriors and Doc Martens to climate champions who can parallel park a cargo bike, these are the ones putting in the work to make this city not just livable, but lovable. So grab your overpriced kombucha, get comfortable in your thrifted Patagonia, and prepare to meet the change makers who are proof that, yes, Vancouver is expensive and slightly unhinged, but it's also full of people who are bold enough to try to fix it. In a city where brunch costs more than your hydro bill, and landlords are out here listing crawl spaces as charming microlofts, some people are using their energy not to curate a grid aesthetic, but to feed people. Wild concept, right? While influencers are busy perfecting their Gudok morning routines, this person is out here packing produce boxes at 6 a.m. and organizing food shares with the efficiency of a caffeinated Virgo on a mission. Meet the community builder. Not the kind with personal brand strategists in their bio, but the kind who builds actual community with their hands, their heart, and probably their own money. They're the human behind the community fridge you thought magically refilled itself. They're managing food rescue programs, linking local farms with shelters, and texting 5 volunteers at once, while also answering a call from a grandma asking if almond milk is still vegan. They're not in it for likes, sponsorships, or even shout-outs. They're in it because people are hungry, groceries are giving luxury item energy, and the system is clearly built for everyone except the people who need help. These community champions run mutual aid networks that function like well-oiled machines, despite operating on zero funding, borrowed Tupperware, and pure spite for inequality. You'll find them setting up food tables in the rain, leading workshops on food sovereignty, and explaining for the millionth time the difference between charity and mutual aid. Spoiler, one is top-down, the other is We got each other's backs because the government forgot we exist. And the wildest part? They don't want applause. They want more people to show up, bring bananas, and maybe stop pretending it's revolutionary to repost infographics if you've never dropped off a can of soup. These folks are out here reminding us that community is a verb, and it looks like checking in on neighbors, making extra servings, and organizing when the city refuses to. So while the cost of living climbs and everyone else is panic downloading budgeting apps, the community builder is out here budgeting for 40 families on 300, feeding folks with dignity, and making sure nobody is left behind. They're not here for the aesthetic, they're here to make survival collective. Honestly, we don't deserve them, but thank God we have them. While the rest of us are debating whether oat milk or almond milk is more eco-friendly and simultaneously sobbing over our gas bill, the climate champion is already knee-deep in rainwater harvesting, solar panel installation, and judging your recycling habits from across the community garden. This is the kind of person who could start a compost bin in the middle of a desert and probably has, in a city where green is both a branding tactic and a lifestyle accessory. This person is the real deal. They're not just talking about the environment, they're out here wrangling it, one reusable bulk jar and grassroots campaign at a time. You've seen them biking everywhere, running shoreline cleanups before brunch, and giving side-eye to anyone who uses a plastic straw like it's 2007. Yes, Greg, we still remember. While most of us panic buy bamboo toothbrushes for moral balance, the climate champion is lobbying City Hall, planting pollinator gardens, and explaining why fast fashion is a crime scene. They've probably started their own zero-waste business, hosted a DIY toothpaste workshop in a co-op, or written a guide on how to compost in your 200-square-foot studio without accidentally creating a bug cult. And they're always in possession of a reusable cup, a foldable tote, and facts about climate collapse that make you reconsider your entire life during casual conversation. What sets them apart is that they're not just doing it for clout, they're doing it because the planet is on fire and nobody else seems to be holding the extinguisher. So while we're doom scrolling through climate news and panic refreshing weather apps, the climate champion is out here doing the work, rewilding parks, calling out greenwashing, and teaching 12-year-olds how to build solar lanterns out of recycled yogurt tubs. They don't wear a cape, but if they did, it'd be upcycled, locally made, and 100% compostable. While half the city is busy turning every industrial building into luxury micro lofts and live music venues into salad chains, the cultural curator is out here fighting the gentrification apocalypse with paintbrushes, microphones, and vibes. This is the person making sure Vancouver doesn't turn into a sterile scene of wellness apps and yoga studios that smell like reclaimed cedar and unspoken sadness. They're not just curating culture, they're protecting it like it's on the endangered species list. These are the people organizing rooftop poetry readings, DJ nights in empty warehouses, queer open mics in cafe basements, and gallery shows that spotlight artists who actually live in the city, not just visit during festival season. You'll find them knee-deep in grant applications, lugging gear up 4 flights of stairs, or convincing a city official that, yes, street art is valid community engagement, and no, not every mural needs to be of a whale or an inspirational quote. They're basically running on caffeine, passion, and the eternal rage that local artists are somehow still underfunded while another froyo bar opens in Mount Pleasant. What makes them iconic is that they're not gatekeeping their door holder. They're creating space for BIPOC artists, trans performers, disabled storytellers, and anyone else who's been shut out of mainstream art spaces that confuse accessibility with beanbag chairs. They know that culture isn't something you buy tickets to, it's something you build, and it starts with who gets the mic. They're also the reason Vancouver's creative scene still has flavor. Without them, we'd be trapped in an endless loop of yoga in the park meetups and wine paint nights with the emotional depth of a Pinterest board. But thanks to the cultural curators, we have spoken word shows that make you sob, DJ sets that resurrect your serotonin, and zines that call out capitalism, and look cute while doing it. They're not doing it for likes or LinkedIn clout. They're doing it because art is resistance, stories are survival, and without culture, Vancouver is just real estate with a mountain backdrop. So next time you see a pop-up gallery in a shipping container or a poetry slam in an alley lit with fairy lights, just know there's a cultural curator behind it, tired but thriving, making damn sure this city doesn't forget how to feel. Let's get one thing straight. Activism isn't just yelling at buildings anymore. It's Google Docs, city council meetings, and explaining colonialism to bureaucrats who still think inclusivity means adding one Indigenous welcome slide to a PowerPoint. Enter the social justice architect, the person building blueprints for justice while the rest of us are trying to emotionally recover from a city budget report. They're not here for empty hashtags or vague awareness. They're here to gut systems like a reality show contestant with something to prove. These are the people writing policies that actually do something, organizing with grassroots precision and dragging institutions politely but firmly into accountability. You'll find them running campaigns to decriminalize poverty, advocating for affordable housing that doesn't look like it was designed in Minecraft, or working with Indigenous communities to push for land back with actual action, not just symbolic rainbow crosswalks and truth and reconciliation brunches. Their toolkit, strategy, spreadsheets, and searing moral clarity. They've got the energy of a caffeinated librarian and the spine of a lawyer raised on Angela Davis quotes. They read legislation for fun, sickos, write multi-point manifestos in response to a single zoning change, and still show up to rallies with hand-painted signs and a bullhorn that doubles as a motivational speaker. And while social media is busy rewarding surface-level allyship and pastel infographics, the social justice architect is in the trenches calling out the hypocrisy, rerouting the funding, and explaining for the 5,000th time that diversity without power sharing is just aesthetic oppression. They don't just want change, they want structure, accountability, budgets that reflect values. What makes them incredible is their long game. While the rest of us are doom scrolling and screaming into voids, they're out here embedding justice into blueprints. Every line of policy they touch becomes more human, every meeting they crash becomes more transparent, and every barrier they break becomes a path someone else can walk through. They may not be the loudest in the room, but trust they wrote the agenda, ran the meeting, and made sure the mic was passed around before the city issued a press release pretending it was their idea. While most of us are still trying to figure out how to make Canva posts that don't scream intern energy, the Innovator is already 3 steps ahead, coding climate justice apps, launching online businesses out of shipping containers, and probably running 3 LLCs from a coffee shop with better Wi-Fi than your apartment. This is the person who saw the broken systems and said, okay, but what if I just made a new one from scratch? And then did, with style, with spreadsheets, and with a brand identity so on point it makes other startups look like rejected LinkedIn banner templates. These innovators come in many flavors. There's the tech whiz building an app that helps unhoused folks find resources in real time. There's the filmmaker documenting gentrification with zero budget and a camera duct taped to a bike helmet. There's the cannabis entrepreneur selling pre-rolls that fund community gardens, because late-stage capitalism is a mess, and these folks are here to remix it into something functional. They don't wait for permission, they launch, they test, they fail. Then they pivot harder than a startup bro explaining his 5th rebrand. They're allergic to gatekeeping and probably learned HTML before they could parallel park. Their hustle is real, and their Slack channels are terrifyingly efficient. And let's not forget their love language, collaboration. These innovators are always hyping others up, reposting local businesses, sliding into DMs with ideas, and showing up to panels where they casually drop game-changing insights like it's no big deal. They believe in community over competition, unless you're trying to undercut them on sustainable merch, in which case it's war. But beneath the hustle, aesthetic, and digital fluency is purpose. These people aren't just chasing clout, they're chasing impact, equity, sustainability, actual systemic change. And if their path to that includes branding that slaps and an e-newsletter with immaculate design, even better. They're proof that innovation isn't about reinventing the wheel, it's about turning the wheel into a solar-powered, community-led, artist-funded vehicle that takes everyone for a ride. So next time you see someone editing videos on their phone while pitching a business on Zoom and organizing a protest via Slack, that's them, the innovators. Making Vancouver less about surviving and more about thriving out loud. Not all heroes wear capes, some wear thrifted hoodies, ride the 99B line, and hold this entire city together with a reusable coffee cup and pure emotional stamina. While politicians pose for photo ops and developers name towers after luxury concepts that sound like skincare brands, Lumina at Harmony, the everyday icon is actually out here doing the work quietly, consistently, and without a PR team. These are the people who don't have LinkedIn bios that say changemaker, but somehow manage to change everything anyway. They're the teacher who turns every lesson into an act of empowerment. The bus driver who waits for the late-running student, the library worker who stalks zines about rent strikes, the folks who move through the city like glue, invisible to most, essential to all. They're not chasing clout, they're chasing community. They're not interested in being disruptors because they're too busy being dependable. They show up for neighbors. They call BS when things are unfair. They hand out extra granola bars to someone who missed breakfast. They attend every city meeting, even the boring ones, because someone has to take notes that aren't riddled with corporate jargon. These everyday icons don't need viral moments. They are walking micro movements. They make the city feel human when everything else screams overpriced tech dystopia. They know everyone at the local food co-op can tell you which laundromat still takes coins, and probably helped organize the community cleanup last month and brought snacks. And while they may never trend on Twitter, RIP Twitter, their impact is written in the relationships they've built, the trust they've earned, and the consistency with which they care. They're the ones who remind you that radical kindness is a form of resistance and mutual respect is still revolutionary. So if you're ever wondering who the real MVPs of Vancouver are, look past the press releases and real estate ads. They're probably standing behind you in line at JJB, quietly changing the city one decent human interaction at a time. No awards, no speeches, just vibes, heart, and a flawless ability to carry community in a tote bag. Sure, Vancouver is beautiful. The mountains, majestic. The ocean, moody in a cinematic, emotionally available way. The skyline, a flex if you like, glass and ghosts of affordable rent. But let's stop pretending. The real magic here is just the view. Because the actual backbone of this city isn't the seawall, it's the people grinding behind the scenes with clipboards, compost bins, and community in their bones. This is a city that might ghost your wallet and emotionally gaslight your sense of financial security, but somehow, against all odds and zoning bylaws, it's still full of people refusing to let it become a hollow luxury brand with nice weather. These Vancouverites, the builders, organizers, artists, advocates, and absolute chaos legends, are the reason the soul of this city hasn't been bulldozed and turned into another luxury pet wellness center with ocean views. They're doing the work, the messy, unpaid, often overlooked work that makes daily life livable for the rest of us, whether they're feeding neighbors, organizing climate strikes, curating culture in alleyways, or just being relentlessly decent humans. On the 22 bus, they're proving that passion beats profit and care can still be currency. So the next time you find yourself yelling at your rent, crying into your tofu banh mi, or wondering if it's worth staying in a city where brunch is a financial risk, remember this. It's the people who make Vancouver make sense. The ones who stay, who fight, who show up, who believe that even if the city is messy, expensive, and increasingly shaped like a condo showroom, it's still ours to reshape. In the end, Vancouver isn't just a place you live, it's a place you build. And if you squint past the chaos, you'll see it. The blueprint of a better city, held together by a whole crew of low-key heroes with tote bags, spreadsheets, and stubborn hope. Let the developers have the skyline. The people? We've got the ground floor, and just like that, the city's pulse slows, but the story doesn't stop. You've been watching ISVi IMRAN STAR video, where voices come together and the city speaks back. We're a crew, not a single face. A movement, not a moment. And every episode, that's built with you, for you, by all of us. From the seawall to the skyline, from underground voices to rooftop vibes, we're telling the stories that don't make the news, but make the neighborhood. If this episode hit, pass it on, subscribe on YouTube, follow us on TikTok and Instagram, drop a comment, and tell us what your Vancouver sounds like. We're building this together, clip by clip, story by story. From 100 to 10K to wherever this takes us when we get there, we all show up. So until the next drop, stay loud, stay collective, and stay in it. This is ISVi, signing off.